We just broke a shocking story. There is a rift, and I think that is an understatement of a word, a rift.
I think that that's going to be, probably a game time decision. Anyone that reasonably has information that can be, that can provide evidence in this case is going to be deposed.
Hollywood rift. How a legal battle shattered the bond between Taylor Swift and Blake Lively. In a saga more dramatic than fiction, a rift, perhaps too mild a word, has opened at the heart of one of Hollywood's most cherished friendships, Taylor Swift and Blake Lively. These two women weren't just industry peers or red carpet companions. They were soul sisters, seemingly inseparable, bonded by years of shared moments, mutual admiration, and family-level intimacy. Swift was not only Blake's close confidant.
George, this is a big mess for everyone involved. The legal drama playing out in multiple courts now, literally from coast to coast, and all kinds of people close to these stars, from personal trainers to friends like Taylor Swift, finding their names mentioned as part of this ongoing fight.
But also the godmother to one of her children, a deeply personal title that signified just how entwined their lives had become. To fans, their friendship was the gold standard, genuine, joyful, and refreshingly drama-free. They weren't known for manufactured paparazzi moments or performative interactions. Their bond felt real, strengthened by late-night hangs, vacations, private celebrations, and even collaborations. Whether it was Swift naming Lively and Reynolds' kids in her lyrics, or the couples spending holidays together, the message was clear. This wasn't a Hollywood friendship, it was chosen family. But beneath the carefully curated Instagram posts and affectionate award show shoutouts, subtle fractures were forming, fractures that would eventually deepen into a public, painful, and highly scrutinized fallout. What began as a workplace dispute between Blake and her.
Now you have two sides here, right? So Baldoni says this was all an effort to hijack the film to get her way. Lively claims she was the victim of harassment in a hostile work environment.
And her it ends with us director Justin Baldoni quickly snowballed into something far more volatile. Allegations of a hostile work environment triggered lawsuits, countersuits, and the release of private communications that stunned the public and caught even closer friends off guard. Among the most shocking revelations? That Taylor Swift, despite having no direct involvement with the project, had been named repeatedly as a source of influence, leverage, and power in Blake's behind-the-scenes battle. The texts and legal documents didn't just mention Swift. They cast her as a symbolic weapon, an ally whose global celebrity could be wielded to apply pressure. The betrayal wasn't loud or obvious. It didn't come in the form of a public feud or explosive statement. Instead, it surfaced in subtleties, words, implications, and
new video released by lawyers for actor Justin Baldoni showed unedited footage from the filming of It Ends With Us.
And silent moves that spoke volumes. Swift, known for her fierce loyalty and protective nature, reportedly felt ambushed, dragged into a high-stakes legal war she never agreed to join. And just like that, one of the most visible and celebrated friendships in modern pop culture began to unravel under the weight of broken trust, reputational risk, and emotional fallout. This is the story of how a legal feud snowballed into a Hollywood power struggle, pulling in not just Blake and Baldoni, but Taylor Swift, Ryan Reynolds, Selena Gomez, and an entire circle of A-list names. A story about ego, influence, alliances, and what happens when friendship becomes collateral damage. For years, Swift and Lively were more than best friends. Their relationship was steeped in trust, loyalty, and love. Taylor was even named godmother to one of Blake and Ryan Reynolds' children, a rare and meaningful gesture that went beyond Hollywood glamour. Their dynamic was beloved. Blake, the effortlessly witty fashion icon with a sharp sense of humor. Taylor, the global music sensation who could spin real-life heartache into platinum.
Out of the ongoing Hollywood drama, everyone is talking about the legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni.
And platinum hits. Together, they represented the kind of female friendship that fans dream about: supportive, enduring and unshakable. But as with many powerful bonds forged under the spotlight, the cracks began subtly. At first, they were easy to dismiss: missed sightings, colder body language, and vague rumors that never quite gained traction. Then came the moment that shattered the illusion. The legal storm. Blake versus Baldoni. The drama truly ignited when Blake Lively became the center of a lawsuit involving It Ends With Us, a film adaptation of the best-selling Colleen Hoover novel. Blake not only starred in the project, but was closely tied to its development. Her co-star and director, Justin Baldoni, was a driving force behind the film, and soon,
Now, I will say, it is also interesting that the defendants in this answer also admit that they sent text messages. I mean, when Lively produced copies of these text messages that she got through a subpoena, there's really nowhere else to go on that. You got to admit that you sent these, but it doesn't mean that Baldoni and the other defendants will agree to the context or the characterization that was laid out by Blake Lively. For instance,
the opposition in what would become a brutal public and legal battle. Lively accused Baldoni of creating a hostile and unprofessional work environment, with allegations ranging from creative sabotage to more serious interpersonal grievances. The case quickly escalated from a behind-the-scenes dispute to a front-page Hollywood scandal, complete with leaked documents, press statements, and countersuits. But the most unexpected and explosive twist came when Taylor Swift's name surfaced in the court filings. Swift, who had no formal involvement in the film's production, suddenly found herself cited in a string of private text messages that were disclosed as evidence. In those texts, Blake referred to Taylor and her husband Ryan Reynolds as her dragons. While the term might have seemed empowering at face value, the context suggested
to stop being so ADHD where we're only into stories at the very beginning of them and we never see them through. Like, we need to bring back true investigative reporting.
Suggested something far more strategic, that Blake viewed her high-profile friends as powerful assets to back her up or even intimidate others during times of conflict. To outsiders, it appeared as though Taylor's reputation was being leveraged behind closed doors as part of a larger power play. She wasn't just a bystander mentioned in passing, she was being positioned, however indirectly, as a silent force of influence in Blake's legal maneuvering. For Taylor, this revelation was a gut punch. Sources close to the singer said she felt deeply hurt and blindsided by the way her name had been used. Known for being meticulously private and loyal to those in her inner circle, Taylor had always protected her personal relationships from being exploited publicly, especially in legal or career conflicts not her own. This wasn't just a misunderstanding, it felt like a betrayal of trust. And so, what began as a professional dispute between co-stars became something much messier, a sprawling,
And he says, like, look, this is just, Hollywood is based on pure fear, cultivated by both of them and their very powerful friends in entertainment.
Emotional fallout that pulled in one of the biggest names in the world and threatened to unravel years of friendship, reputation, and carefully built boundaries. Court documents revealed that in a series of private text messages, Blake Lively referred to Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds as her dragons, a term that might have sounded empowering on the surface, but quickly took on a more strategic, even sinister undertone. In the context of the texts, Blake appeared to be invoking her powerful friends as a form of backup or silent influence, implying that. The sting of that betrayal deepened when Selena Gomez, Taylor's longest-standing friend and confidant, reportedly weighed in behind the scenes. According to insiders, Selena had long harbored doubts about Blake Lively's motivations and had even warned Taylor years earlier to be cautious. To Selena, Blake's friendship had always seemed a bit too convenient.
Well, I do think the damages for Baldoni could be very considerable, definitely in the 100 million range or above that, which is obviously problematic.
Her presence more performative than heartfelt. With the court drama now splashing Taylor's name across headlines, those old concerns seemed less like jealousy and more like prophetic foresight. And then came the subpoenas. As both legal teams prepared for a bruising court battle, names like Taylor Swift, Ryan Reynolds, and Hugh Jackman were floated as potential witnesses, dragged into the legal mess not because of direct involvement, but due to proximity and association. Even the suggestion that Taylor might be called to testify was enough to send shockwaves through her team. Her legal counsel immediately began filing motions to keep her name off official witness lists, arguing she had no material connection to the film's production. But the damage had already been done. Taylor's name was now entangled in a lawsuit playing out across headlines, casting a shadow over her
This is a weird thing that women do. I don't know why, but we lie to each other on the internet. I see it all the time. I want to call it out. I want to be like the internet police and be like, that's not true. Stop supporting your friends when they're doing bad or harmful things. I think Jenny Slate...
her public image despite her silence. Behind closed doors, the production nightmare. While Taylor tried to retreat from the chaos, the courtroom drama between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni only escalated. Baldoni's legal team released behind-the-scenes footage from It Ends With Us that painted a volatile picture of the film's production. In one particularly telling clip, Blake is seen interrupting Baldoni mid-rehearsal, insisting on script changes and questioning directorial decisions in front of the entire crew. Though Blake's team claimed the footage was taken out of context, Baldoni's attorneys called it a smoking gun proof. They said that Blake had overstepped her role as actress and entered the domain of creative control without proper authority.